What's going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the YETI Roadie 48 wheeled cooler. You can see beside it I have the YETI 24. I've had this for about 2 years now. I'll put a link to this review video in the description. It's got quite a few views on it, quite a few opinions, so maybe this will turn out to be a better option for you if you don't want this 48 over here on wheels. So far this cooler is quite impressive as far as the depth to it. Whenever you open this up, it has the same style latches as this 24 does over here from a few years ago. You open it up in here, it comes with an accessory tray, a pretty good sized one at that. It takes up about half of the overall width here. You've also got a slot in here for a divider tray. And you can see, you probably can't tell based on the video here, but I stick my arm down in there, I can get past my elbow, which I'm not a very big individual, but I've measured this here and it's 15.5 inches in depth, so you can fit some taller things in here, like some wine bottles, whiskey bottles. I'm gonna try to fit a few different things in here. I've got a venison shoulder, I've got a couple Slim Jim tubes that are bigger, so here in a minute I will try to give you a little bit better of a gauge as far as how much this thing can actually hold, and we'll get to an ice test here in a little bit. One thing that's great about this that I've noticed so far that the YETI 24 over here didn't have is the drain plug. And I know it can be a kind of a downfall on a lot of these coolers to not have a drain plug, and especially with one this size, it's a big enough cooler that you're not going to want to have to tump it over and try to hold all your belongings in there if you're just trying to drain the water out. Whereas over here with this 24, you could kind of easily just turn it over and you didn't have any issues holding on to everything. You can see this telescoping handle here. It's quite tall. It's, let's see, 42 inches right now. And earlier I tried to extend these handles up. It looks like we've got an adjustment to go up another, I don't know, inch or two, so maybe you could get up to 44 inches or so, but you got plenty of leverage out here and it's plenty easy enough to wheel with one arm and get going. The wheels are quite impressive on it. It's got the I don't remember what they call them. They're not inflatable, so they're rubber wheels basically, and I believe in here it actually has a better description for that term. It's the never flat wheels. So yeah, a great design on these as far as how they sit to the ground. You don't have to worry about this cooler sliding off on you. Say it's in the bed of your truck and you make a sudden stop, it's not going to pick up on these wheels and roll. Like you can see, these have a little bit of clearance here, just enough to where it sits actually flat on the bottom of the cooler itself there. So a pretty good feature there with the wheels. They're not the biggest wheels in the world, so if you're somebody that really likes flashy wheels on your vehicle, flashy wheels on your cooler, I will say the Igloo, they've got the wheels department down, I think. You've got a little bit of clearance here against the ground, not a whole lot. I would say that they could have made these a hair taller. We can try to throw something down here in a minute and see exactly what we can walk over, maybe like a 2x4 or something. Alright, so I set up a 3-inch piece of wood here. It's the depth on it. We're gonna see if we can't climb over it. I'm gonna put my foot on it just to give it something to go over with. But you can see I had no problem there. Might be a different story. Once you get a bunch of weight in there, you might have to really move this thing around to get the momentum over it, but no problem with the edges there. Yeah, the overall construction of it seems to be pretty solid. I have no complaints with this YETI over here. These are both the charcoal color, but I've had this for a couple years now, and you can see it's got some scuff marks on it, but it's held up really well, and I expect this one to do the same. So let's go ahead and see what different objects we can try to fit down in here. Try to give you a better gauge as far as the depth of this thing, because that is one of the most impressive features. And I will say that A lot of people probably don't worry about that too much, but being a Midwestern guy here, I like to go elk hunting every year out west, and if I ever have the opportunity to bring one home, I think this cooler would better suit me in comparison to a big wide like YETI 40 or something, just because I've got the depth here and I'm not taking up as much room in my vehicle. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't fit this venison shoulder down in here. Yeah, you can see that fits down in there flat. You can stand it. So plenty of room in there just for the shoulder itself. Now we'll get a roll of summer sausage here. So this summer sausage can almost stand up completely vertical, and don't remember exactly how long. So this summer sausage tube is about 17.5 inches, so that's about right. But plenty of room if you were to lay it to the side. So plenty of room for meat packing capability. That leaves you a lot of room for ice. All right, we got a 16-inch frozen pizza. Yeah, that fits in there perfectly. I mean, look how many pizzas you could actually get in here. I don't know how many, but I would say 8 to 10. So that's pretty impressive. So another nice feature here is once this telescoping handle is retracted, it does not project above this flat surface here of the cooler, so it's not going to get in your way. I could have seen that being a big issue, something they didn't necessarily think about, but well designed on their part. And you've still got these handles down here on the side, so it's not going to be an issue with it being able to be lifted in and out of a truck. Now don't get me wrong, it's going to be heavy. That's the biggest downfall of all these coolers, but I mean that's just the case once you get all your goods in there and then the weight of water on top of it. It's going to be heavy no matter what. Latches, you can handle them with one hand. I'll throw a bunch of water bottles in there. Just try to get as much as I can in there. I believe this thing can hold, what's it say, 42 12-ounce cans. It's got a 10.5 gallon capacity. You can fit 5 2-liters or 39 pounds of ice if you were just trying to store ice alone. So while I got you guys here, go ahead and like this video, comment, subscribe, and put in a shameless plug for ourselves here. We've got a couple stickers that are perfect for these coolers. These things are waterproof. Vinyl stickers, just got them made. They've been in my pocket, so they're a little beat up, but one thing good about this big of a cooler, you got plenty of room to slap these stickers on here. I'll put a link to them in the description. This is our OnlyFans sticker. 3.5 inches is plenty. It's probably our best seller. So let's go ahead and get on to the ice test. All right, so we crammed this thing pretty full. I'd say we're 60% of the way full just on bottles of water. We've got some wine bottles in here. We've got some cans. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty tall wine bottles. I think a quart of water. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 12 water bottles, 5 cans. Plenty of more room to fit other stuff. But I think this is gonna leave us with a pretty good condition as far as the ice test goes. Now I'm gonna bring this cooler inside, and I know people are gonna freak out, but it's pretty cool outside right now, and I'd rather have it inside at 70 degrees. And what I'm gonna do to try to make the test a little more accurate is open the cooler from time to time inside for around, I don't know, 30 to 45 seconds, just to kind of simulate it opening, and maybe pull a few bottles in, maybe swap some in and out. And we'll just see how long that this ice can last in here. I just want to get it out there. If it was in the sun for a whole week, sitting outside continuously, which obviously isn't realistic either, you're gonna have to knock off a day or two, I would at least, just because of, you know, the warm air and the sun hitting it, warming up the outside of the cooler. So this isn't necessarily the best test of the insulation. A lot of it is already chilled, so that's a better condition than what it most of the time would be if you just went and grabbed a 12-pack of soda at the store and threw it in here. But I just got back from the ice dispensary, and I was able to get about 20 pounds of ice in here. I'd say 20 to 22. I ended up taking out some of the bigger bottles, which exactly there were two bigger bottles. So I tried to get the ice down in there as good as I could, and in some, you know, in the cracks in between bottles. And you can see we've got it filled up to the brim here. This is night number 2. It's looking a little bit more melted. I pulled a few things out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a few more out. We still got quite a bit left, so we'll move on to night number 3. Okay, so it is night number 5, and it's time to check up on the ice. I'm expecting it to be melted by now. And it looks like, for the most part, it is. We've got a lot of water in here. Tiny amount of ice left. And that's gonna conclude it for the ice test. I got 5 nights out of it. I would more realistically call this 4 1/4 to 4.5 days maybe, and you could probably even knock some off of that because I had it in the house here at 70 degrees. Not the most accurate ice test in the world, but I did open it throughout the day several times. I swapped bottles in and out, so I would say that that helped a little bit, but not the most realistic situation. But I did want to throw it in there just in case we got a wild number where the ice melted within like a day or 2. One thing that I would have liked to have seen on this drain plug is some sort of keeper, so that whenever you unscrew this to let it drain, that it stays attached to the cooler and you don't walk off and leave it. Whoa, it comes flying out of there. To recap, I'm going to go over some of the pros and the cons of the cooler, and if I forget to mention any, I'll throw them on the screen here with some text. But I think the pros of this cooler are, number 1, the looks. It's a great looking cooler, and I think the wheels just add another dimension to it. Obviously the wheels are a pro to it. The design, how it sits flat, they did a great job with it. The handle, it's not unattractive by any means, and it does a really good job. It's adjustable. It's got plenty of leverage to it, so they did really good with the handle, the wheels, and I think that's the main selling point of this cooler, are the handle and the wheels. Another great feature is the depth to width ratio. I think the depth is just, it's outstanding as far as what you can fit in here. I think you can fit any type of venison shoulder, elk shoulder. I already fit a venison shoulder in there earlier. I fit a 16-inch pizza in there. I mean, it's kind of crazy what all you can put in here and still get ice around it. So that's definitely a benefit. It's narrow enough to where you can slide it into tight spaces, and it just fits better within the realm of other objects just because of it being taller than it is wider. So that's something they did really good on this too. Yeah, I don't think anything jumps out to me as a huge pro. The cons of this thing are the weight. When you get a lot of ice in here, it's just insanely heavy to pick up, to put it in the truck, to get down from the truck. The wheels are great, but the wheels don't do you any good if you're by yourself and you're having to lift this thing in and out of the vehicle. So that part of it, I mean, that kind of sucks. Honestly, that's why I would go with a cooler like a YETI 24. I think it would better suit me. I've had that YETI 24 for a couple of years now, and I can easily manage it by myself. It always does a great job for 3 or 4 days. I mean, I don't really need much more out of it, but this thing, you know, I feel like I get the same ice retention out of this as the 24, and I still get plenty of storage in the 24. So I definitely think this thing is, it's overpriced at $450. I mean, it's just flat out crazy. They're selling these things now as like status symbols, and it's sad that it's gotten to that point, because it seems like every company out there is just kind of gouging the prices on us, and everything's just going up and up and up. So it's kind of hard to justify purchasing this cooler with the price point, but if it were to ever come down, then I think it would be something worth looking at. For me personally, I would use it on hunting trips out of state, and where I have to pack a lot of stuff and in the bed of my truck, and I think it would be a good piece to have. That way, if you did have to haul some meat back, this cooler is perfect for that. So Let me know what you guys think some of the pros are, some of the cons are, and if you would purchase this cooler or not, or if you thought this review was helpful. Please like our channel, or like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we should have a few more cooler reviews coming for you this summer. It's a great time to buy them. Get ready for the hot weather that's going to be approaching soon. We've also got some more review videos on coolers. We've got the YETI 24. We got an Igloo Trailmate from last year. We've also got a big comparison video with Gator, Orca, Canyon, YETI. We've got that on our channel already, so I'll link those in the description. But I will see you guys next time. I hope you found this video helpful.